Good afternoon, Habs fans, Habs Tonight fans. It is the post-game show with Marco and myself. The Habs fall to the Florida Panthers 5-2 in the first game of the 2022 year. First of all, we want to wish you, on behalf of the entire team, a happy and healthy new year. Emphasis on the healthy and especially towards the Habs, because as we know, we have a total of 24 injured slash sick players on the team right now. So there's that. But Marco, how was your New Year's, my guy?
I'm sorry, I cut off a little bit there. I didn't really hear the question you asked.
Oh, just wanted to know how your New Year's went.
Oh, my New Year's was good. I mean, not much we could do here in Quebec with the sudden curfew that was implemented on us, but just a nice little relaxing with my parents, with my brother, and my girlfriend. Like none too big. What about you?
Wonderful. Yeah, same thing. Just staying at home, respecting the law, trying not to get fined, and try not to get sick as well, because I don't want to end up here
Yeah,
like
behind you
the
there.
rest of the team there. But I mean, today started off pretty shaky. We got the news that Jake Evans and Alexander Romanov tested positive to COVID. Two more regulars on the protocol, which meant that Cam Hillis made his NHL debut, and that we were only going to play 11 forwards and 5 defensemen. So
Yep.
we usually play 18 players. Today we had 16. That's how bad it is right now.
We're even further shorthanded tonight. Like you said, we had total 24 players, you said, that was not active
Yeah.
from the lineup. We have as many players not active as we do Stanley Cups. I mean, we know that this was going to happen with COVID and all that, but it's gone to the point where it's kind of ridiculous now. We're looking at the Habs more as the Laval Rocket, featuring maybe 5 starters every game now. But all things considered, I mean, until the third period, I think the boys kept it tight. I think they're, well, especially in the first period, I thought they played really well. We have a lot of positive points to touch up on later in the show. But yeah, I mean, things could be worse, and we try to look at the positives out of all this. It does give the chance for a lot of guys like Hillis to make their mark in the NHL and to develop as players. And yeah, so not everything terrible, even though it is a pretty shitty situation right now.
That's it. I think we were pleasantly surprised in a sense from this game. I mean, no, seeing the goal 30 seconds in the game, we're like, yeah, this is going to be one of those, another
Yeah.
copy paste of the Carolina game where we just got dominated. But then Drouin came right back in, scored the first goal of 2022 for the Habs.
Oh, yeah.
At 3 minutes into the first. So, if we go back on Hillis, actually, he played 10 minutes, which is, decent. A little bit of time on power play. He had 2 shots on goal. Nothing crazy statistically speaking, but I actually pretty much, I really liked his game. I thought he was involved. He was fast too. We got to see his speed, and he didn't shy away, maybe a bit of nerves, but for the most part, I think he did pretty good. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought, like you said, he showed some good intensity out there. It wasn't the best night statistically, but he did only play 10 minutes. I mean, this was to be expected. It's his first NHL game, but no, I saw him flying down the ice. He was getting involved in the tight plays, and he was just, I think, really trying to show to the team that he is like a physical player who likes to get involved. And I mean, if things continue the way they are with the infirmary, if they keep on adding to the numbers, then I think Hillis with his intensity could provide some positives later down in the road.
Yeah, thankfully we have an 11-day break here. We'll pull up the schedule coming up for the Habs. So as we see, we have an 11-day break before the next game, which is at Boston, and then we're playing 8 games in 13 days, which is ridiculous. We're playing some really tough games there. I see Vegas, Colorado, Minnesota all back to back. That's, well, not back to back, but like one after the other, which is pretty rough. So the team is going to have injured and sick players coming back, most of them actually. But again, the schedule is going to be rough. And I mean, this afternoon, it's going to be rough today, but this afternoon we saw how having such a short bench impacted the team, right? We dominated. Well, I won't say dominated, but we did pretty good in the first half of the game, right? If we split the game in half, first half, we did really well. Second half was completely out of the question because the guys were burnt out, right? They were done. Legs were not there anymore. And that's to be understood. Like, we're only playing 11 forwards, 5 defensemen. The guy with the most ice time tonight, this afternoon, my God, it's going to be terrible, was Cale Clague with 27 minutes. Cale Clague was the most used player tonight. And this afternoon, damn. But
we're not used to the 1 p.m. games, are we, Shayne?
Terrible. But he was the most used player, and we're not used to seeing that. It is usually a defenseman, maybe Ben Sherratt and whatnot. But Cale Clague, 27 minutes, and most of the guys were in. Well, actually, everybody except Cédric Paquette were in the double digits, and obviously we know what happened to Cédric Paquette. He got rocked in the head by Sam Bennett. No penalty on the play, which.
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
I mean, I thought it was pretty evident that he did get hit in the chin, and Bennett did really try to go into him. It's not like he avoided contact. Like, he did mean to do what he did. He didn't mean to hit Paquet. And when he did get hit, he didn't come back initially for the rest of the first period, but he did come back in the second when the game was still competitive. And then given the third and Florida just adding on to the goal tally, they took him right out. So I think that might be another name to add potentially for next game into the good old infirmary behind you there. But the positive, though, we do have an 11-day break coming up. So hopefully it's nothing serious. Hopefully it's just a little ring in the head, maybe not like a huge like serious concussion or anything. We always try to hope for the best for our players. But yeah, at least although it was a negative play, there is a positive outcome in the sense that we do have a big break coming up and they could rest their players there.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate play, and then it's a big head scratcher how they didn't call a penalty on that. I think it was pretty clear cut, and it was in the middle of the ice. Everybody can see. I'd want to know an explanation for that one. And there's a lot of missed calls tonight, this afternoon, but for the most part, the officiating we won't really complain about it. Like, all the calls that were made were correct. They just missed a few, including that one. But if we turn a bit on the positives here, Jonathan Drouin scores the first goal of 2022. Nice little tip there. Nice pass by Sami Niku. What do you think of Joe's game tonight, this afternoon?
It's okay. The more we say it, the more you'll get comfortable. You'll get it. You'll get it. Anyways, no, I thought Jonathan played a really good game, and it's really nice for us to see him grabbing the first goal of 2022, given everything that happened to him last year. It was a tough year for him, for his mental health and everything he went through. So, and I do think that, like, apart from today's game too, he's had a solid season, like really solid season. He has been one of the better players on our team, game in, game out. And to see him put him back in it tonight, and what a feed it was also from Niku. That was fully intentional, right on his tape. Beautiful tip from Drouin, but no, you love to see it, especially given everything he went through, like we said.
And a very interesting thing, I'm looking at the stat sheet here. Drouin actually played 5 minutes on the penalty kill, which is really fun to see because, the big gripe with Drouin for years has been his defensive game. He's, a lot of people have said, he's weak defensively. He's not very involved. He got the most time on the penalty kill today. That says something. And he did pretty good too. I mean, we only got scored once on the penalties. And I guess we can jump on that because Florida had 5 power plays today. And all of them were earned. David Savard had like 3 penalties alone to himself, deserved all of them. But we did do better than against Carolina, special units wise, only letting in 1 power play goal. We didn't let in any penalty kill goal though, so that's always good. But I mean, Alexander Barkov, what can you do against him? But special units, Marco, what'd you think?
I mean, you look at the Carolina game, all the goals came from special teams. So I think the Habs did a much better job, hands down, dealing with special teams today. They did give up 1 out of 5. I mean, the penalties that occurred, they were all warranted, like you said, and they're all of them were also avoidable, in my opinion. A lot of them were kind of bonehead plays that I think could have been avoided. And it's given. If you keep on giving a team like Florida that amount of chances on the power play, they will convert one of them. And yeah, I mean, it was going to be a tough test from the beginning too. You look at Florida's lineup; they're an absolute wagon. A lot of people consider them to be Stanley Cup contenders, and we did actually have a graphic that did want to bring up there. This
Boom.
one over here. I mean, I think that just says everything, shows everything that needs to be said about this team. Picks number 1, 2, and 4, all of Florida. Leon Draisaitl, arguably the best player, most probably the best player in that draft, the one that got away. But no, regardless, I mean, this is going to be a tough test from the beginning, and the Habs shown to life. So, I mean, you look at Florida too. They had almost everybody in their lineup, their team at full capacity, and we had 24 guys in the infirmary. So, considering that, the score could have been a lot more than it was, and the fact that it wasn't, I mean, it's kind of a positive when you look at it.
What a joke that is. I mean, just hearing 24 guys injured or sick. How does the game not get delayed after that? Like, I'm confused. The NHL forced us to play with 2 missing players. Essentially, we played 16 players instead of 18. If we were in a playoff contending spot, we'd be pissed right now. Obviously, we're tanking for Shane Wright. Like, okay, we'll take it. If there's a time for it, it's now. But if we were in a playoff spot and we're in the mix there, that would be really, really infuriating. I mean, why didn't they delay or cancel this game?
I just think that given all the games that they already have to make up, I mean, you brought up our graphic before about the games we have upcoming. We have 8 and 13. So, I mean, to add on to those games would be a lot for the league. But yeah, thankfully, we're not in a position where we're chasing playoffs. So it doesn't hurt us all that bad. And it does give the opportunity for us to play the young guys and for the starters to get a lot of minutes, which is actually another point that I did want to bring up, because you see Clegg had the most minutes on the team. You see Suzuki, Caulfield, Drouin, all those guys getting tons of minutes. It's tiring for them for sure. And when we got to the third period, you can see we were a bit low on gas. Those players were low on gas, and that's probably why Florida was more suited to come right at us in third period and just take control over the game. But the fact that they're getting so much ice time now is a good thing for next season, because physically they'll probably be in the best shape that they're ever going to be. Like, they're not used to getting this many minutes usually, and given everything happening in the lineup, they're given the opportunity to play their asses off. So it's going to be really good for them next season when they have all the guys back in the lineup. Everyone's going to be better suited to play those long games, and when it comes to the third period, to stay competitive, because we do know the Habs have a tendency of letting games slip when they have a lead. So maybe fatigue is a factor of that, but hopefully with the guys putting in the minutes this season, it won't be a problem for the next one.
Yeah, and one of the starters you mentioned is Big Nick Suzuki there, who was, in my opinion, the best forward on the team today. A nice little goal. Almost missed it, actually. If you saw the replay, he hit the post, posting in on an open net. So we caught that, Nick, but he did put it in though, so that's nice. And I thought he played fantastic. 24 minutes, 2 minutes on the power play, 5 minutes on the penalty kill, 5 shots, 2 hits. He was involved today. He was really involved, and I have very little to talk badly about him. Certainly about this game.
Yeah, this game, he was 100% our best offensive player, like you mentioned. And regardless of the goals he got, he was involved everywhere. I remember there was one power play that Florida had. He broke it up defensively at the point. I think he stole from Barkov. And then he went on a breakaway, which, I mean, if he would have scored that would have changed the game completely. I think we're down 2-1 and it would have tied it up. But just the hustle for him to get to that puck and to go down the ice, I mean, that's arguably also, I mean, Barkov did do a good job getting back. It was a good hustle on his part. He got a little bit on Suzuki's stick, interfered with the shot a bit, but no, the effort was wonderful from him. And there was also a very interesting turning point in this game too that Suzuki caused when he kind of fished Ekblad to get that penalty. It was a big brain move from Big Nick, but yeah, so he was just They're everywhere. He's a smart player, and I think we saw that tonight. And yeah, I love the fact that we have him on our team, and I'm just so looking forward to seeing the rest of his career play out. He is
Mm-hmm.
such a fun player to watch.
That's it. And the best part is how young he is. He's got his whole career ahead. He just now this year signed a big deal. So we've got our man for a while now, and it's nice to see him perform, especially on the road. We've seen this season has been tough for him on the road. He feels more comfortable at home clearly, but today on the road he performed really well. And another standout for me was Sami Niku today. 2 assists, 2 shots on goal, 2 blocks in 20 minutes of ice time. Best defenseman by far. I thought he was really, really good today. What'd you think of his game?
Yeah, I don't know if he was, in my opinion, the best defenseman out there today. I think Clegg had a really solid showing, and he looked very comfortable in the lineup today. But no,
Mm-hmm.
Niku is definitely up there. It's definitely him, 1 and 2. I mean, when you dress 5 defensemen, it's not hard. But besides the point, no, Nico played a fantastic game. We talked about it before. He had a really nice apple on Drouin's goal. He had a few slip ups, maybe a couple of them. Montebo bailed him out on one occasion there, but no, Niku played a great game. He was involved on every play, and he looked more comfortable in the lineup too. And I'm glad he's getting the minutes, because with a full lineup, I don't know really if he would get as much opportunity as he currently is. So this is all great for him to develop his game, and he had a good showing tonight. And yeah, I hope he could keep it up for the rest of this season.
Mm-hmm. And I like the fact that you mentioned Samuel Montembeault, because he had 43 saves today.
Oh yeah, he was
48
busy.
shots on goal, 43 saves. He was phenomenal against his former team. You can't blame him. You see on the stat sheet, well, he let in 5 goals. No, 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 no. None of them were his fault. And he stopped 43, so big shout out to him. I thought he did really well. You could see he was, there was something meaningful about this game playing against his former team, and he really showed out today.
Yeah, no, he played outstanding, and he was part of the reason why we were in this game for the duration of the first and the second period. He definitely stood on his head and he built the team out on multiple occasions. And like you said, this is a great revenge spot for him, going against a team that placed him on waivers. And I definitely think that he showed them what they're missing out on, because I mean they put a lot of their eggs in the Spencer Knight basket. So
Mhm.
far this season hasn't been playing well. He's back down in the AHL. I'm not taking anything away from his game. I still think he's a great goalie, but in when hindsight's 2020, now it looks like Monty's a better option for this season. But no, and I'm glad he's on a roster. It just shows how much depth we have at the goaltender position, and he's been there when we needed him, both him and Primo. And
Yeah.
yeah, the scoreline just doesn't show the type of game that he has, and it's his save percentage too. It's not the most handsome in the league, given everything that the Habs are going through this season, the team in
Mhm.
front of him. And I noticed as a goalie too, you could play your ass off, you could stand on your head, but if you don't have a team in front of you, there's not much I could do for you. And the stats this season just don't show what kind of game he's been playing all season long. And I think there's something that really slides under the radar for a lot of guys watching. But no, if you look at Montebo, it's clear that he's been outstanding for us, and he's part of the reason why we're in a lot of the games that we're in. We're a lot of
Mhm.
close contests. So no, lovely stuff from him tonight as always.
That's right. I really enjoyed his progression so far this season, because we remember the game against Buffalo was rough. We won't sugarcoat it. That was rough, and it took a few games for him to get into a certain groove, and now he's essentially the starter with our 3 guys, Price, Allen, and Primo out. Um, so I really think he's progressed really well recently, and he's just going to keep getting better, hopefully. But another guy who I think has progressed considerably this season has been David Savard.
Yep.
Beginning of the season was again rough. Okay, we won't sugarcoat it. We try to stay habsative, but wasn't great. But now, taking a much bigger role. Obviously, he has to. He's the vet at the D. Um, Again, an apple today. 3 penalties though, which wasn't great, but 3 shots on goal, 1 hit, 1 block. You could see him also more comfortable offensively. Some nice little deeks there, feeling himself, and I did like his game today. I think wasn't the best defenseman, but he was pretty good overall.
No, I think in recent games he's shown a lot more of what he could do, and we all know him as a defensive defenseman, but he had a crucial goal against Tampa and a
Mm-hmm.
beauty at that.
Yeah.
And this game too, he's got some nice hands for a defensive defenseman, and he showed that again tonight. He had a nice shot on Bobrovsky that got stopped, but no, it just shows that he's getting involved offensively, and it shows that when we need him, he could step up. He wasn't the best start of the season, like you mentioned, but right now he's there when we need him to. And when you dress 5 defensemen almost every night, you do need him. And that brings up a point that I wanted to ask you, actually, given the fact that our defensemen are getting so many opportunities to play, like Niku, Clegg, Savard, and company. There's a lot of talks about Sherratt potentially being traded at the deadline, kind of
Mm-hmm.
trading high on the value that he's currently at because of the way he's been playing. And a lot of people think Florida, the team that the Habs just played today, could be a potential landing spot for him. So I want to get your opinion on that to see if you think Sherratt could potentially be dealt at the deadline, and if so, what team you think he could be put on.
Yeah, there's about 20 teams that could use a Ben Sherratt right now. And Florida is one of them, really. You look at their top pairing defensemen, that's Uyghur and Ekblad, and they're both righties, whereas Sherratt is a lefty. And, we know he can play top pairing minutes. He can play power play. He can play penalty kill. So his value is actually very, very high. When we heard the rumors that we could fetch a first-round pick for him, I think we were all taken aback a bit, like, oh, really? Okay, he usually clears the puck in the stands more than anything, so we're a little shocked to hear that, but it actually makes sense. Supply and demand, right? Basic economics. So a lot of people need a guy like Sherratt, and we have him. So I think it's up to Gorton and the new GM to really scope out the market, see what's available, what you could get. Obviously, a first round pick would be really nice. This draft is pretty deep. So again, we'd have 2 first round picks this year, which would be nice. But again, I'm looking maybe a prospect, something. I know Edmonton desperately needs defense. But I could see him in Florida, though. I think that would be a nice fit. That's a team that's missing very few pieces just to be at that, level of like Tampa Bay, where they have a complete team when everybody's healthy. And we saw they just went back to back. So that could be interesting. Where do you think he would fall?
Well, like you mentioned, I think there's a lot of teams that could use a Ben Sherratt right now, especially teams that are in playoff contention and are trying to make a push for the puck. And Florida's a team who hasn't won a playoff series since 1996. So adding defensive depth, especially with a guy like Sherratt, I mean, I do think he's worth right now potentially a first round pick or a really high end prospect. So given the way he's been playing and what kind of game he brings, I think any team right now, like Edmonton, oh boy, do they need a guy like Sherratt? Like, I think they do have some good options with Barry and Nurse. I mean, Nurse a lot better than Barry right now, but no, I mean, they need some depth to that defense. So I think Edmonton could be definitely an interesting shout. I think Winnipeg too. They could use some depth in their defense, and
Going back home,
yeah, maybe even Vancouver too. Who knows? I mean, the way they're pretty hot right now. They're on a 7-game win streak. Bruce, there it is. Like they're buzzing right now. People think they can make the playoffs, and if they do, I mean, I think Sherratt could be a good lying spot for them too. If the Canucks do think they can make the playoffs this season, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him traded over there to Vancouver. Maybe it'll be good for their playoff run. But if not, I mean, any team really who has a chance of making playoffs, winning the cup, even Washington, I think could use someone like that. So really, the options, they could go on and on. Ben Sherratt will be useful wherever he's landed, especially with teams who need defensive depth. So I think that's for us to wait and see what Gordon has in mind. But yeah, I think right now the main thing that we could take out of this is that we have defensemen right now that are playing well, showing us what we could do. And if we do let go of Sherratt, I think at least for this season, because we're not really staying competitive for playoffs, we'll be all right in the grand scheme of things. And we do have Edmonton, who eventually will be coming back. We'll see what's in store for Webby, and if we do end up drafting in our defenseman. But no, I think we'll be all right now with what we have with or without Sherratt.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. We're talking all this smack about Sherratt. We're actually not talking smack about him. Okay, we just want to reiterate that we do like Sherratt, and if we were in a good spot, we probably wouldn't be talking about trading him. But
Right.
looking at the future of the team, he's a guy that can bring in a lot, and I think that Gorton and the new GM are going to have a lot of pieces to work with. I think we can do a whole entire show about potential trade candidates and all that, but another guy comes to mind is Brett Kulak,
Yeah.
a puck moving defenseman, good mobility. Today he was it was a bit tougher for him. Finished at a -4, which is the worst differential on the team. But he can play in most situations, PK, power play, whatever the team needs. He's a good second, third pairing defenseman for a contending team, maybe. So again, multiple different options for the GM and Gorton to use. But we will talk about that when the time comes around, March, February, maybe. But yeah, that's going to be a big show for us here.
Yeah, most definitely.
That's it. If we circle back to today's game, I mean, we touched on just about everything. Face-off circle was a bit tougher for us. We finished at 44%. Not many guys above 50, actually none, except for Hillis. Hillis was actually 50%, so that's nice.
Yeah.
A lot of penalties, few hits, few blocks, nothing crazy, but again, we weren't expecting anything crazy. This is an AHL team on the ice, so we take what we're given. But anything else you wanted to add about today's game?
I mean, I just kind of wanted to stress the fact that this was always going to be a tough game from the start,
Mm-hmm.
given the fact that Florida is just an absolute unit on the ice, and the fact that they're actually the team who has the most home wins this season, I think, with 17 already. So, given all this, I mean, I think a lot of people, I know one of our buddies had like 9 goals that were going to be put on us this game, and it could have definitely been a lot worse if the team didn't play the way they did, which I thought, all things considered, they were sharp. Montepo was very sharp. So
Yeah.
although the scoreline wasn't pretty and it's not the way we want to start out the new year, there are some positives as always to take from this experience. And I do like the fact that the young guys are playing and a lot of guys are making their debuts because in a normal lineup, I don't know if they necessarily would, given the fact that Ducharme wants to win as much as he can coming towards the end of his contract. But no, I'm so far. I mean, things could definitely be better, but we just got to take the positives when they're there and make the most amount out of things. And when players have great games like Suzuki, Drouin, Clegg, and Nico did, we just got to look at that as a positive and a huge dub for the team going forward because next season will be completely, hopefully, it'll be a completely different picture. And a
Yeah.
lot of these guys who are putting in the work this season will be able to do it for us next season. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I had to add. Is there any other points that you wanted to add there, Shaner?
I think we touched on just about everything. This wasn't a very eventful game aside from, hit to the head. I mean, we can touch on Pezzetta real quick, who
Yeah,
dropped
why
the
not?
gloves against Radko, the big man Radko.
Big Gudis.
Yeah, left with a nice little cut above the eyebrow, but it was not the best fight by any means.
No,
It was a pretty
no, but
bad fight actually, but
respect for the effort
that's
though.
it. It takes some cojones to drop the gloves against Gudas, who's pretty big lad. Yeah, Pezzetta then, with a little between the legs move after a nice pass from Hillis, shows some confidence. Maybe not the
Yeah,
best play on that sequence there, but again, it's fun. It's encouraging to see he's coming into his own. He's been consistently good. So happy to see Pezzetta doing well. Hopefully he's not injured. Another one, but he seemed fine. So I think that's about it. Next game is against Boston, January 12th. We have a big break here, but we'll try to pump out some different creative content for you guys, keep you entertained in the meantime. And I mean, again, we wish you all a very happy and healthy new year. Okay. Don't want
yes.
to end up in my background. And yeah, we hope that everything comes back to normal. We hope that fans can come back to the Bell Center and no more COVID protocol because we're all sick of that. So, anyways, thank you, Marco, for joining me. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll catch you very soon.
Take care.